Hey everybody, it's Maggie Mulhern from Modern Salon TV. I am here with the Chrystofer Benson. It's so cool to have you here. Christopher, we were talking earlier about your NAHA nominations and wins. How many finals have you been in?
18 finals. It's crazy.
And your wins?
4 wins so far, and that's not counting what happens this year. So exciting.
That's so cool. And give us your title so we have that
Yeah.
because it changes. A little bit. Yeah.
Hairdresser to me. No, I'm a Matrix Global Artistic Director, and then I have my own brand as well.
The CBC.
CBC, yeah,
CBC
yeah,
brand of tools and cool stuff.
yeah, absolutely.
Cool stuff. All right, so we were talking people who want to start NAHA or enter any kind of competition. One of the biggest problems is finding a model. So let's talk about that. What are your tips to finding the perfect model?
Well, I think as you start shooting, I don't think you have to necessarily go get the tallest, most pretty model. I think it's really finding what's going to best suit the situation. So if you're shooting beauties, I shoot a lot of girls that are tiny in height, but have beautiful, beautiful faces and great hair. And if we're shooting beauties, it works perfect, right? So I think you got to really figure out which category you want to go at, what you want to shoot, and then find the person that's best suited for that. A model for me is a lot like an actress, right? They're playing a part. The hairdresser plays a part. The makeup artist plays a part. So we all play a part with that, and I think it's finding who's going to play that best part. So I definitely work with agencies. I definitely curate models, but I've even stopped people on the street that I just am like, "You're beautiful. I would love to," and of course have a girl with you because they always think I'm trying to date them, right?
Yeah.
So that doesn't really work. But ask people, let them know and let them know what you're capable of doing, but let them know you want to share in the process with them. And I've found great models to be able to do that with. That they've never modeled in their life. So
And you're in Utah. It's not like you're in New York City and you can do some great street casting.
Right,
It's
right.
well, they're beautiful girls
They're
out there.
beautiful girls in
Yeah.
Utah, so that's a huge advantage. There's no question. So, but I think there's beautiful people everywhere. I think it's a matter of you gotta open your eyes of what's walking around you, and I think sometimes we get really just dead set that it's got to be an agency, it's got to be a high fashion photographer, it's got to be these specific things. And I think as you're learning, the more you can shoot. The more often you can shoot, the better you're going to understand the process. So shoot as much as you can. Shoot with everybody. And that's really how I started to develop, my style was shooting with a lot of different people and learn from everybody and then really find out what things you really love and start driving on those.
So one tip I once heard was just it doesn't matter. The girl could be 5 foot tall as long as she's got a nice long neck because you want the hair to fall properly. Is that anything else like that? Any other tips?
I think it's a nice long neck. I think it's somebody that's confident, and it doesn't mean they have to be a model, right? Because the minute the camera comes out, it's like, people can take selfies all day, but the minute the camera comes out, they're like, whoa, this is a whole different process.
Yeah.
So I think it's finding somebody that's confident and is willing, right? Because there's a lot of, again, there's a lot of the girls that I've worked with that had never modeled, and I think it's building a rapport with them, a confidence with them, letting them know how great they look. And we do the same thing at shows. I think you're putting people out into the world, whether it's a picture, whether it's a show, wherever it is, that there's not a mirror, right? So you got to breathe that confidence into somebody. So by the time they get to set, or by the time they get to a show, they're on fire because that's the last person that is going to touch what happens, right? We send it onto set, we photograph it, but they're the last, they're the last piece. They're the key to all of it coming together. And I think that it's so huge. So for me, beauty over confidence, I would take confidence.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah, no, I would take confidence because I think the confidence comes through far more than a really beautiful person that isn't sure.
And what about going to a beauty school? Someone once told me, "Oh, I get my best models from beauty schools
Well,
because they're willing."
I was going to say, as we know, in beauty school we like to try a lot of things, and I think the thing about beauty school is the kids and the kids coming out of school, they don't know. They haven't been put into a box. They haven't been conformed, and they're willing to try anything. And so, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great place to definitely check out. As well, they're excited, right? When you can rope young talent into what's going on, whether it's a model or whether it's behind the scenes helping you, that to me is just the ultimate because that's helping the next generation. As well, I think it's really giving them insight on what other things can happen outside of just behind the chair, because that's where it starts. Is it all starts behind the chair, but then it's like, is that where we settle? And there's so many things to do in this industry, so many.
So, all right. So we've covered the model. We'll do one more. How about finding the right photographer? Because I know you mix it up.
Yeah, I of course I have my favorites that I'd like to shoot with, but I think like anybody, I mean, we all get comfortable, and the thing is it's really, you got to work with different people to get to different end results. And I always have my go-tos, and I love them, and I shoot with them all the time, and I still shoot with them. But I think sometimes you got to shake it up so that you work with different people to learn different things. Every time you work with somebody, you're going to learn something new. And I think that the more you can surround yourself with like-minded people, but in different experiences, you're going to walk away with new things. So, yeah, that's really is being able to vibe with a group, but have honesty with each other. Be able to look at each other and go, that's probably not your best, or what if we did this, or what if we did that? And for me, that's really what it's about. Surround yourself with people that aren't going to be yes men, because it's easy to, yeah, that's great, it's great, it's great. Then we all get back to the end result, and you're like, it wasn't great, and somebody should have said something.
Yeah.
So I think that's really is honesty is best policy. I think you got to surround yourself with like-minded people that care enough to be honest with you.
But if you're in a small town, you can always go to a local college and go to the photo department and just say, is there somebody out there that maybe wants to try this? If you don't have a big budget and you're in a small town, what advice would you have for those people?
Well, it doesn't get much smaller than the town I live in right now, because I'm actually just north of Salt Lake City. I'm in a town of 5,000 people, if you can fathom that. And for me, there's just no excuse. You can have every excuse on the planet, or you can find the resilience and go, you know what, I'm going to persevere past this and find them. So, yeah, I think that it's really just the people are there, the creatives are there. It's just, you got to ask the questions, you got to network, you got to talk to people so that people know that you're out there and you're wanting to do it. But coming from a town of 5,000 people right now, I mean, I'm traveling all over the globe, and I don't buy into it's conservative here. It's as conservative as you allow it to be.
Ooh, good one.
It's true. No, it's true. It's true. I hear this all the time when I travel and teach, and we go to the middle America. They're like, we can't do this here. You can do it anywhere. I think you got to scale it to what it is for your guests. What would happen in New York and maybe what would happen in middle America, maybe two different things, but doesn't mean the technique isn't the same. It's dialing it for that guest and scaling it for that guest. So I think that's the most important thing.
And then the last tip I think would be, we were talking about this, enter as many things as possible, because you learn something from, and there's so many great competitions out there, but enter everything.
Enter it all. You're going to learn something from everything, even in I think it's so funny because there's so many times people go, you didn't win, you failed. Those are probably the ones I've learned the most from, right? Because
and you didn't fail.
No,
you didn't fail.
and it's so funny because you had the same teachers I had. It's like it was right, it was wrong, it was good, it was, it was bad, it was, pass, it was fail, and I just don't look at it like that. I look at it as an opportunity that I never have to do that again, or an opportunity to grow into something different. And so some of my greatest, what people would consider failures, are my greatest learning lessons. And I think it's how you look at it, but I think it's how you look at life. The glass is half full, it's half empty.
Yeah, and also those things that maybe they didn't win, but they were fantastic.
Exactly. And listen, even winning the Nahas I've won, if we went back and judged them again, it may be a different winner. Right. It's that day, it's that moment, it's that, for that judge for that time.
And I'm a judge,
right.
and I don't know what my fellow judges are doing, so.
And it may change. I mean, your aesthetic changes, right? All of our aesthetic changes, our taste change. So what you may have liked, 5 years ago, may be different now, and that's part of evolving. So I think you got to just put your work out there, realize there's no line underneath the picture that's a disclaimer of what it is or what it isn't. So you got to be really proud about what you put out, and that's ultimately, I think, the key to this is whatever you're going to put out there, it's your brand, it's your name. Be happy with it, be proud of it, and it doesn't end with the competition. It just doesn't end there. There's so many other things you can do with it after that.
Oh, what a beautiful way to end this. We got to go catch a flight, or he does anyway. Thank you so much for giving us this time.
So glad to be here.
Bye.